evening, Broncos. We would like to welcome you again to this debate. My name is Dillon Buckland, and I'm the presidential candidate for our slate. And then this is Kelsi Fereind, and she's the vice presidential candidate. We are honored to be here today to be speaking to you all on behalf of Kelsi and I. We're excited to reintroduce our slated members. Our slate includes 3 additional people. Our first is Ama Agbomo as our Student Affairs Chair, Kayla Leonard as our Public Relations Chair, and Connor Smith as our University Pride Chair. Our platform consists of 5 pillars that include University Pride, Diversity, Safety, Community Involvement, and Student Life. Student Life also encompasses the last 4, but has different qualities that make it unique to itself. And I think that I can speak for the both of us that we're very excited to be participating in this opportunity with our opposing slate over here, and that is all. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone. My name is John-Mark Cuarto. I'm a junior here at Western, majoring in graphic design and minoring in communication. I've been involved in WSA for the almost past 3 years now, and have been in the WSA Cabinet Executive Board for the past 2 years. In the past, I've been involved as an orientation leader, fall welcome, FOIS, student ambassador. I also was the Bronco Bash coordinator this past summer.
I'm Molly Cahill, and I am a sophomore here. I am currently running with John-Mark as the vice presidential candidate. I have been on the e-board of Campus Secretary Resource for the past 2 years, so currently now as a treasurer. I've been involved with WSA past administration, and this one is their Fuller Funds Chair, coordinating the Special Olympics fundraiser for the past 2 years. I've also participated in Drive Safe Kalamazoo, and shout out Bronco Pride.
Alright, so with our platform, Bronco Pride is something that we strongly believe in. Not just in like sporting events or like Western Wednesdays, but also in all aspects of university life. Our pillars are divided into 3, or our platform is divided into 3 pillars, with the first one of connecting campus. We believe that Bronco Pride is about being aware and recognizing our diverse campus. So one of the things that we want to improve on is definitely increasing the awareness of our diverse RSOs, and also all the events that everyone works so hard to put together. And one way we want to do that is by working with SALP and creating a more user-friendly version of GoRSO. Because I mean, honestly, let's ask ourselves, how many uses GoRSO here? And so maybe even making a mobile application where students can have access right on their phone of all the student organizations here on campus and seeing like, oh, this organization meets at this time. And also having your events available with the time in your hand. So if I say, I'm bored today, I'm going to go look on Wednesday night and you see there's a WSA debate, and so I can go to this. And that way, we can connect campus better and making our organization really shine on campus.
We believe Bronco Pride is also about giving back. Not only lending a helping hand to our WMU fellow students, but also to the Kalamazoo community as a whole. We want to reach out to the Kalamazoo community, and one idea that we have for this pillar is to create a database with Volunteer Kalamazoo and other programs in the area of volunteer opportunities that students can participate in via our website and see a calendar of events going on in the Kalamazoo area and utilize the better Kalamazoo resources, because we believe that it's underutilized and we want to continue growing that.
Bronco Pride is also about being a student and making sure that we chose WMU as our education. So we got to make sure that we are getting the best education possible. And so the Cuarto Cahill administration recognized that change will not happen overnight. And so with our 3 pillars of connecting campus, creating community, and cultivating change, we can work towards Bronco Pride. Thank you.
What would you say to a student who told you WSA doesn't matter and doesn't affect their college experience?
Well, what I would say to them is that they're kind of mistaken. The WSA is a student government, so obviously we're here to serve the students. So if they're not using us or trying to be connected with your university through us, then they're kind of misinformed or anything like that. So yeah, I would just say that they need to come check it out, check out what we do and things that we offer through the Western Student Association.
So one of our pillars that we really want to strongly work on is to make sure that WSA is not only grow in size, but also we are making that initiative to go through other organizations, as well as making students aware of our goals. And so with WSA, what I would tell that student is that with WSA, just because you have an idea, we can tell them by proving to them that, last semester or in the past, we've gotten students who complain like, I need to work out at the rec center, but I don't have enough time because I have night classes. Well, something that we've worked as a student body is that we work with administrations to extend that time. So now, instead of 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock is time for the rec center. So that's something, an example that students can see that happening in WSA.
Okay, next question. The College of Aviation has introduced a ballot initiative this year to raise funds in order to fund the busing to the aviation campus in Battle Creek. Do you support this proposal?
Our campaign definitely supports student initiatives as a whole. The resolution that the College of Aviation has proposed does increase the sustainability that is a pillar of the WMU community. I believe that as a campaign, John-Mark and I, we support student initiatives, but also I think we have to appreciate the fact that WSA is a student body representation as opposed to own personal opinions. So we strongly support student initiatives in any kind of voice, any kind of light that does want to be touched on in the community. And anyone that has an issue that wants to make a resolution to our community as a WSA, I think that we're fully supportive of that. The Buckland campaign wholeheartedly supports the aviation students initiatives. Advertisements, administration, organizations, and students frequently use the College of Aviation as a major point of pride for the university. Their students pay a majority of their own operational costs, as well as inflated transportation fees to get them back and forth from the College of Aviation in Battle Creek. These students who are unable to take the shuttle because of the inconvenient scheduling then pay additional fees for their own personal transportation, as well as to make up for what they may have missed when they missed the shuttle. The College of Aviation students deserve the opportunity to receive help from the university to alleviate their costs. Their positive reputation is one that reflects the university and the student body as a whole and is one to be proud of. So with that being said, as a slate, we wholeheartedly support the College of Aviation.
It is unfortunate that administration has put this on students, but if this passes, we definitely need to consider all the different options and a dialogue between the students of where this money is going. We got to make sure that, the budget of how this will get split up throughout the years, so definitely more research needs to be done if this gets passed. If it does not get passed, we definitely 100% support that students should not be missing out on their classes, should have a way to get to their classes. And so we definitely want to work with this organization to find a creative way of solving their problems and continue building that relationship with administration, saying, we are for these students. The students' voice does matter, and maybe even working with alumni and maybe more creating funding, and maybe finding a creative way of doing bus routes that involves the CHSS and also park use, so maybe rerouting the options. So definitely, either way passes, there's more dialogue that needs to happen, as well as helping these students, because their voice matters.
I have resources that supplement my area of study, and I do not have to pay for those out of pocket because, granted, I pay a little bit of differential tuition, but upfront the cost would be much greater. The College of Aviation students shouldn't have to be paying out of their own pocket for resources that supplement their fields of study, just because the funding isn't allocated correctly or whatever happened. I agree that there does need to be more dialogue, but there was research done when they presented the proposal to the WSA. So we know where a majority of the funds are going generally. The specifics, yes, will need to be worked out, but as far as them having to pay personally out of pocket for
resources that support their areas of study, we feel that that isn't something that should be put on them as students.
Do you believe Western should become a smoke-free campus?
As President Dunn has said when he came to our last Western Student Association meeting, is that he is looking into that, and we do, at the campaign, we do support his endeavors in doing that. I think it's only going to make us a cleaner, more, I guess, sustainable campus with doing that. And we do support it, so, yeah.
I think smoking is a personal choice for students. It is their choice. It is my choice to not smoke or to smoke if I please. Oh, there's my hat. But I believe that if something that we could do as a student body is to really enforce our rules. I know in the residence halls it is 100 feet, I believe, if you be able to smoke, and so that is to disturb students. And also I know there are students who, on their way to campus, like walking around near academic buildings who are smoking. So maybe finding a better way to definitely enforce that.
Another thing that we could also look into is making more designated smoking areas. Instead of making us a complete smoke-free campus, I think there are other ways that we could go into this, and more research and more like polling would have to happen with the student body. So.
Something that happened in the past with WSA, I don't know if it was my freshman year, one of the resolutions that was brought up to the Senate is the smoking rule, and maybe even changing the amount of space between buildings. And so this just shows how much we need to work on working with the administration to see where did that resolution go? Like, what did they do to make that enforcement?
Some parking permit and ticket revenues go toward bus funding. Why should student parking permits fund free busing for students who ride Bronco Transit and Metro Transit?
I actually did not know that actually happened. And so, which I applaud, because I would agree that students are complaining about the ticket prices. And so that is a good thank you for letting our students know that this is where that money is going towards. So it's not just if you didn't have a car on campus, or if you park your campus, it goes towards buses too. So it's good to know that those money are being used.
We also did not know that, so thank you for enlightening us. That is something that we'll have to look into in the future and see if there is alternative ways to be funding our busing and transportation. So.
Some people can also view this as a good way to cause sustainability. And so if students know that, then maybe that will decrease the amount of cars that we'll have here on campus.
One other thing that we can also do with this is we do have an upcoming parking services forum, so we can also bring that up there to see what other possibilities or opportunities we can do to offset this or find alternative funding for the busing. So.
Do you feel the Sustainability Fund should be trimmed?
As of right now, I think that our sustainability fund is possibly a little bit too big for our needs as sustainability goes right now. I think we're still growing with sustainability. So maybe lowering it $1 or $2. I don't really know what the breakdown is. I used to, but I don't remember what the breakdown is with the $8 per semester is. But I think that we should look into possibly lowering it maybe $1 or $2, depending on the breakdown. So that's something that we do kind of, but we're not, that's something we'll have to look into in the future. So.
I don't know if you guys know this, but the sustainability fee is only 3 years old. And so that means that as each year, everyone knows that we always tend to grow. And so the staff has been around for a long time. So with this new fee, I think it needs time to grow for the office. And also the SSG, there's all the different opportunities within that to definitely showcase their opportunities for students.
And if we did decide to lower the sustainability fee, that $1 or $2 or whatever we decide that could go down to, it could offset with the staff, because I know the student assessment fee, because I know that we are looking into increasing that this year, or even helping with our aviation funding. I know as we are growing with sustainability, I know last year we had about $40,000 roll over in our sustainability fund. So that's also why I was saying that we could cut it down this year. I know that this year we have had over 20 applications or grant proposals for the sustainability fund, so it is growing, and that is a great sign. So.
Our campaign is all about now and what we can do. And if you do lower this fund, it'll take another referendum. And since it's not in this ballot, it's something that's not probably going to happen real time soon. So what we can do is to research what the office is actually using this money for. That is a big question that students are asking, like, where does the money go? Something that I've talked to with sustainability is that, that money does not go on the new office that was built. It does not go on the solar panels that was here at Western, or the cars that was, electric cars that is here. So clearly, people are misreading things, so definitely give the office a chance, and also find a way to not reevaluate the fee, but also find a way to keep in check with it, follow up, like where is this money going through, and making sure that we are as transparent as possible as students, but also as for the office to be as transparent with us as well.
The open letter to Lawson lunatics created a lot of controversy with students. How do you feel about the conduct at hockey games?
We believe that the Lawson lunatic letter was definitely needed. We fully support Bronco Pride, and we fully support going to our athletic events and making sure you guys go crazy and support those Broncos. Hockey is our #1 sport here. But also we realize that there are students with younger children, and there are parents that come with younger children there. Some of the terms they might use are inappropriate. Actually, one of the quotes from Erin's article in the Herald was a student does say that we do overuse inappropriate words, and we do drop the F-bomb inappropriately and overuse. We believe that maybe making a personal service announcement from the Department of Athletics would benefit us, because I know a lot of students felt that we were misapproached and not treated as adults, which I totally understand, but I think there just needs more communication with that situation, because that is a problem, but it needs to be handled correctly.
We also support the athletic department's letter to the Lawson lunatics. The consequences of their actions reflected on our younger Bronco fans who can no longer ride on the back of the Zambonis during intermission, which is unfortunate because they're probably really excited to have the opportunity to do that when they come to our hockey games. Our goal as a student section at any sporting event should be to create an atmosphere that visiting teams and families want to be in. And bantering between student sections is to be expected. It adds to the athletic environment, but the students' actions reflect directly on their families, our administration, and the athletic teams and their coaches. There's not really a benefit to harassing visiting teams, families, and athletes, and it gives us the impression that our students are there to bring other teams down instead of supporting our own teams. And as that may not have been Lawson Lunatics' intentions, they aren't the only fans of the game, and we agree that they should be more considerate to the rest of the audience.
Something that we believe is that we need to lead by example. And so, although the department made that letter, we did feel that that was a little that made the students feel like they were childish. We are all adults here, and so we encourage the hockey team, like the fans are going for. Those are the ones that we are going to the games to see and watch. To lead that example. Maybe even create like a PSA video saying, "This is what we're expecting from you." Everything is about leading example, and I think that it would be a good opportunity to get them involved with our students.
I think that Bronco Pride should be exhibited at all of our sports. It's not really a secret that some sports receive a little bit more attention than others, and so this could even be flipped into an opportunity for the students who are a part of the Lawson Lunatics to kind of spread their Bronco Pride and show others why they're so passionate for the athletics, and we can try and turn it into an athletic-wide effort to really support all of our athletic teams.
The university administration sometimes makes decisions that students don't agree with. Your role as WSA president would include communicating those decisions to students. How would you explain university decisions like the plans to demolish North Hall, West Hall, the Speech and Hearing Center, Bigelow, and Hokie Hall?
All right. Well, we, as Buckland campaign, think it's very upsetting that they thought, or that they are doing that to our foundation of our university. That is something that we use our East Campus to recruit students, and I think it's very unfortunate that we're tearing apart something that was our foundation. It kind of like rips the legs out from underneath you, and we're kind of getting rid of our history. There's no denying that the buildings have safety issues and have unfortunately been faced by the graffiti and also kind of pushed off to the side from administration when they should have been being kept up to date as we went through our university life. And okay, and then East Campus's original purpose was for students, and we would make this very clear that we're upset as students in the administration. I've worked with all three of the top, well, President Dunn. I have monthly meetings with Provost Fereind, and then I also know Diane Anderson very well. So I would be able to communicate our feelings as students to them very well, since I know them pretty well already, so by having to work with most of them already, so that's how we would kind of go with that. So.
In regards to Residence Life, I know Residence Life has a plan. It is 25 years, 50 years, looking down the line. They are tearing down Bigelow and Hokie, and they're relocating the engineering housing into Valley 3. But also they're looking to the future in regards to Residence Life. They're building better buildings. I personally lived in Bigelow last year, and it isn't the best living conditions. It's definitely doable. Community bathrooms, I didn't dislike it. But I think looking to the future and growing our university is going to bring in more students. It's going to bring in more funding, and it's going to really just make our university more elite. In regards to East Campus, it is really unfortunate that they are looking to tear that down. I know it's going to cost over $15 million to tear that down, so I don't think it's going to happen in the next few years. So there is time to communicate, especially with the RSO we have here on campus, Students for East Campus, to communicate with the administration on what they want to preserve and what they really feel about East Campus. And definitely, I think reaching out to alumni and seeing those experiences at East Campus and feeling that out, and just making sure that we move to the future, but we also preserve our past.
And at our last Tri-Wizard Forum with Dr. Anderson, Provost Fereind, and President Dunn, Dr. Anderson was saying that they were hoping to have all of our residence halls updated by 2020, I believe. I may not be correct, but I believe that's what we heard at the forum. And another way that we could, or administration and we as the, executive branch of the Western Student Association could do is by having forums, or I know that they had forums for when they were trying to rebuild Hokie Bigelow, and also we had a forum for the Bernhard Center to look into a new student union, and they were very open with that. But I think that that's something that we could definitely work on, is having more public events about these things that are happening on campus. So.
In the past several years, the Allocation Commission ran out of funding with 2 or 3 months remaining in the academic year. As president, how would you combat this problem?
Speaking of allocation, the allocation's job, the main role, is to provide student funding for our student organizations so they can do those events that you guys work hard for. And so, to help with that, I think we need to definitely create, or not create, but to continue building from our experience of, how can we improve the selection process, or making the selection process more tighter or more accessible to students. So I know some students, they get mad like, oh, like we didn't get funding for this, but then, like our allocation chair completely says like, like the rules are the rules, like we didn't follow this up. So basically continuing forward with that idea of just making sure that things are followed through and that things are not just selected, but also just moving in that direction.
Alright, I know that we were having talks earlier, a little bit before this about increasing the staff, and that would increase our the student assessment fee to add $9 to our already $21 fee. I think that is something that we could do, but I think that also with our allocations, we could possibly try to have our RSOs being submitting most of their budgets by a certain time and then picking from a large base of them instead of having more monthly deliberations, because I know that those can also be taxing on the allocation commission because they're there for about 10 hours each time. So maybe having some sort of something like that.
As treasurer of PAB, I've actually served on the allocations commission, and I've seen firsthand the process that allocations funds events through the staff fund. I think one thing to definitely, to answer your question, to help keep money in the fund longer would be to look at events that come to us every year and say, okay, this event, like keep records of history of past events that haven't been successful or they haven't followed through on their words, because there are RSOs and departments that unfortunately don't follow through on the contractual necessities for allocations, and I think we should make sure we keep a history of allocations and the funding and where is it going.
I definitely do agree with Molly because I have sat in the allocations commission one time earlier this year, and I do think that we should keep history of our events, because I know that I have gone to an event before for the allocations commission at the beginning of the year, and it was kind of more of a fail, and I hope that maybe in the future when they do look into refund, when they come for funding, that they are looked at upon that, on how their events went in the past. So.
Some say it's not effective to pass resolutions since they're just a recommendation to administration. What is your stance on this belief, and how do you measure the effectiveness of resolutions?
Yeah, as a person on our cabinet right now that passes resolutions, I've seen firsthand when I brought it to our Undergraduate Studies Council, which is part of our Faculty Senate, that it is very productive to bring them to our faculty, because they do take them very seriously when they do get them. It's just a matter of bringing them to and making sure that they are followed through on. And I just think that it's very important to make sure that we are bringing them to administration, because I think some of them kind of get lost in the processes of bringing them to. So making sure that we are continuing to bring them over to administration.
I think it's just basically we go back to what WSA is. And what we are is we represent the student body's voice. Each senator is a representative from each student organization. So if we wanted to, and we want to grow as much as possible, we have over 400 different student organizations on campus. And our goal is to get as much as senators as we can. And so when we present this to the administration, it's saying that this whole student body is backing this up. It's not just this student group, but it is a representative from each one of these student organizations that passes this resolution.
As far as measuring the effectiveness of a resolution, I don't even think you have to look as far as whether or not it passes. Just recently we had a WSA Senate meeting where the College of Aviation was putting up their equity and transportation resolution, and the support that the College of Aviation got from its students was astounding. We had rows and rows and rows of chairs of students that had probably never been to a WSA meeting before, and the fact that there was a resolution presented that it was about something that they were passionate about, it brought more students to see what we were all about. So I think that's one way that you can measure how effective a resolution is, because it brings out the passion that people have for things that they love. And I think regardless of whether or not a resolution like that passes or fails, if you're getting the word out about something that you're passionate about, I think that's effective within itself.
Like we mentioned earlier in our campaign, something that we want to work towards is to build a better relationship with the administration and making sure that we are checking up on them, following up with once we pass the resolution, what is the next step? Making sure that those are initiatives, your voice is being heard. And that is why with our website, you can come to our website, WMU.com, and we are looking for your ideas and your initiatives. So when you put that together, what we want to do this summer is we want to make sure that we have all those ideas put together, separate them, so by the beginning of the school year, we have all your ideas all put together, and so we can have our resolutions all going and making even more than 25, or increasing our resolutions. I know this year we had 25, which is huge. So we want to go forward with that the following year.
WSA publicizes itself as being the student voice. How does WSA combine the elements of a forum where student opinions can be heard and the elements of a liaison where the WSA goes to the administration and communicates the problem?
So I know it's kind of repetitive, but I did just explain what the WSA was. And so with forums, our goal is to make sure that although you're not a senator and you don't have voting rights, where you can pass a resolution, our ideas, your ideas, and your initiatives is still very important to us. Like I said earlier, go to WMU.com and insert those ideas. And so we know that your ideas are going to pull through. And as cabinet members and executive members, it is our job to meet with those administrations, to follow up, and to make sure that your voice is heard.
I think the basic structure of the Western Student Association kind of handles the two different roles. I think the Senate is more of, I guess the Senate and the executive branch as a whole are the forum, and then I think the executive branch are definitely the liaisons. And I think that they do a really great job of taking our resolutions to the proper administration. Just this year recently, we passed a resolution as a Senate as far as Senate conduct, and it was to make everyone feel more comfortable voicing their opinions and saying things, talking about things that they were passionate about without feeling like they were going to be judged. And so I think the fact that we did that only makes it more of an open forum, because regardless of if you're a senator or not, we made it so that it's more comfortable for you to come and get everything out that you feel needs to be said.
Being in the cabinet of WSA, something that each member does is that they meet with administration. I'm in Buckland Faculty Senate. And so I know, for me personally as an Information Technology Council, I meet in that committee as an IT coordinator. And so what we do is, I know one of the questions that they had is they wanted to decrease the amount of paper usage that students are using for printing. So they want to lower 500 pages. And so something that happened in the past about paper is that we passed a resolution wanting to have our paper roll over the next semester. And so that way, I, representing the student body, can get my voice input to the administration saying that that's not what students want. And so making sure that that is possible for all students.
Alright, and I know with my position as I'm academic affairs chair right now, I meet with Provost Fereind monthly, and then I've also had a lot of meetings with our faculty senate leader already too, because I'm also working on changing the grading scale here at Western but that's a different story. Sorry, went on a tangent, but so that's something that I'm doing, and I know that even like my counterpart Anthony always has meetings with people with administrators, including Diane Anderson and Judy Hipper from Dining Services. So I know that we are doing a lot of meetings with our administrators already, relaying our voice, the student voice,
In the last several years, we've seen a series of additional fees introduced, proposed, and some passed, in addition to the standard fees that we normally pay. What other sources of funding can student organizations and initiatives seek other than further increasing the fees that we incur as WMU students?
I know that I was a former employee of the annual giving programs, and that's where our student telebroncos call our alumni and ask for donations for our university. I think that that's a great opportunity to reach out to our alumni, and I think that we should open that up maybe to our registered student organizations. I know that Roeder also, and I don't know about the Western Herald, but I do know Roeder is also one of the recipients of getting that funding from our alumni. So I think that that's something that we can also open up for our registered student organizations instead of increasing our staff funding too. So.
Can you repeat the question?
Over the last several years, there have been proposed and enacted a series of fees adding to the ones that we've paid in the past. What other sources of funding can students seek to curb the tide of additional fees?
Well, definitely, as John-Mark and I, we both definitely agree with Dillon, and reaching out to alumni, I think that's a big thing. But I think also things that different RSOs and different departments don't know is that you can really research different grants and different scholarships. Because I know my experience in CAP, we actually get a Coca-Cola scholarship for our cultural events, and that's not paid for with the student assessment fee. That's paid for with a Coca-Cola scholarship that we have for our cultural events. So I think reaching out and really researching different kinds of things that certain organizations or departments will qualify for. There's plenty of money out there. I think people just need to go look for it as opposed to just trying to raise everything and raise it here and raise it there. But just encouraging them to try and find other resources. But then again, it also raising our fees. We do have a great student involvement here on campus, and that is due to the staff fund and the $21. We did increase our staff fund from $9 to $21 in 2008, and I think we put on great programs for our university and our student body.
Another thing that we could use that we talked about earlier is a sustainability grant and making your events more sustainable so that we can use that. Since we have rollover or not use money, I guess, from the sustainability grant, so that's another way to offset increasing funds. So.
Whatever happened to the good old fundraising? So, students can go out there and get creative. I know in the flagpoles, I've seen people doing pie and OSTL or pie and RA, or even rent a puppy or stuff like that. So maybe going towards the Kalamazoo community and working with them, and maybe getting sponsorship from them where you can provide services or different opportunities for campus to make fundraising possible for your student organization.
The WSA is the largest student government in Michigan and a founding member of the Student Association of Michigan. What relationship would you see with other student government leaders?
With other student government leaders, I've actually had the opportunity to visit SAM, which is the Student Association of Michigan, once. And what that is a collection of all the student governments here in Michigan, all meet one meeting to see what are all the different things that goes on. I know we have a representative that goes there every month. It takes along a couple of other people to showcase that and see. It's a good way for us to definitely see what others are doing and also get ideas from them. And so, as a student government, our voice should be heard. And as a whole Michigan, that's definitely finding great ideas can be better that opportunity.
I have also been to SAM, and it was the most fun I've ever had. So I know that I would fit in perfectly over there, but also when, and if we do win, picking a strong political affairs shirt, such as Joe did a great job this year, and by picking a strong political affairs shirt to fit in with that group of people, they're a great group of people, and it's an exciting place to be when they're at work. So.
Alright, so I guess something, now I remember. So as WSA, we represent our student body. So just imagine this Student Association of Michigan where each student government from each school come together to go vote on something that they all agree in. What greater voice is that in saying to our state, this is what we all want. And so I think having that experience with other student leaders is a great opportunity.
What sets your slate apart from your opponents?
Okay, when I was picking my people, our are my slated members. I started back in November by thinking about people who I was interested in picking. And when I was picking them, I picked them from a different array of places. I also have a first-year student on my slate, which is very unusual for slates. And also I picked a resident assistant. She is a Kelsi is a fall co-coordinator. And I picked a student orientation coordinator. So I'm picking people from different parts of student life because I think that that's one of the most important things since we all are here for student life and academics. So that's how I picked my slates.
First thing I want to say is that I do not want to pick my best friends to be on my slate. That is not something that we should be doing. But what we should be focusing is that we should be focusing on qualification. It doesn't matter if you're involved, if you're not involved. We should be seeking out there students that are not involved who are best qualified for each position. And so qualification is definitely something that I'm looking for with my slate. And also a good place where students can better WSA. And so with all my slate, definitely qualification is number one for my slate.
I think one reason why we have two people on our slate who have never been involved in WSA before. And as Dillon said, the five of us come from a very wide array of organizations on campus. And I think what sets us apart is that all five of us are passionate about something completely different than the other one. We're a very diverse slate in more ways than one. Diversity is more than just the color of your skin, and that's something that we stand for. So we really wanted to make sure, I guess, with John-Mark's big thing, the qualifications are a big thing with diversity. We really wanted to make sure that we not only kind of redefine, but also enhance the definition of diversity and really show that with our slate. And so I think that's one thing that really makes us stand out.
I mentioned before that it's important for experience to have for an organization to grow. With my slate, I chose Alyssa, who has been this past PR chair. And with any position for any executive board, you guys can understand for those student leaders, is that you need time. You need time to grow. You need time. So by next semester, if elected, Alyssa will have the opportunity to learn from this her position already and find a way to better herself. And so with my position and me being involved in WSA for the past 3 years now, and with the past 2 executive cabinet decisions, I think it's definitely something, experience is something that you can definitely have as a slate. Is a good thing.
If you could pursue only one goal for the WSA, only one issue that the WSA would focus on over the next year, what would be that goal or issue? What's the most important thing on your platform for you?
I think we've definitely made it clear what our goal is, and that is awareness. Not all, awareness is a big important thing because our students need to realize, that the fee that they're paying, where does that go? And so students doesn't even know, all our campus activities for it. They have, events that goes on every week. For us, we are making this change, but not everybody know what WSA is. Not every student organization know that they can receive funding. So definitely being aware is something that we want to work towards for our campaign and for our administration.
As I just said, I think the most important pillar to us is our diversity pillar. And I think diversity kind of stems into relatability. I've come across many students who have said that they were intimidated by those of us who take part in WSA, those of us who are involved on campus. And one thing that we really want to kind of eliminate is that intimidation factor because there's no reason for that to be there. We need to make sure that we are open to anybody who wants to take part in WSA. And I think one of the things that we can do to do that is, like I said, to redefine that definition of diversity that's on campus. There's a mindset right now that if you were to walk up to anybody and say, what first comes to your head when you think of diversity? 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get an answer along the lines of skin color or race. And I think that mindset needs to be shifted, and our campaign really wants to work on beginning to shift that mindset into recognizing the other communities that are on campus so that not only are we more open to anyone, we can also start to bring in those diverse people from those different communities and really show them that there's no need to be intimidated and there's no need to feel like you can't participate because you aren't experienced or you don't have the qualifications or anything like that. So So that's what we were going with our slate, is that we wanted to make sure that we showed that we were including others because we want to lead by example.
I think with our goal of being more aware on campus, definitely would be letting students know that everyone has a voice during our meetings, that you don't have to be a senator, you don't have to be a college senator, or even involved in an RSO. You can be someone who's off the streets that want to say something. Any opinion is welcome to WSA, and I think that's one thing that definitely, as an administration, that we would strive to accomplish, and letting know that every student has a voice and everyone is represented in the WSA, no matter your skin color, no matter your class, no matter anything. But letting people know that that opportunity is there for their students.
And by having our one of our slated member, Connor, being our current diversity guidance chair, that'll be great for making bigger strides in the future. I know he's slated as our university pride, but you can always wear multiple hats when you're doing things. So we're very glad to have him on our slate. And just by making our new definition of diversity known to the student body, because I think that we just kind of get in our cliques and then we kind of just stay there. So by making sure that we're reaching out and bringing new people in is what we're trying to go for here.
Both campaigns have talked pretty heavily about their slates tonight. Could you both, these slates are larger than historically slates have been, so could you both talk a little bit about how you will choose the rest of your cabinet if you are elected? You guys first.
When we're choosing, if we are elected, when we are choosing our cabinet, obviously it's going to be by our interview basis with the application, but making sure that we're reaching out to all of those RSOs and people that even are involved, making sure that they know that the opportunity is open for them and everyone is welcome. Because I feel like in the past we've kind of been just choosing people who we may know, or things like that. But we really want to make sure that we're getting a big, diverse group of students in our cabinet when we do decide to choose someone.
I think a good way in finding a slate is starting right at WSA. Right in our Senate is a bunch of student organizations that are representing this campus. So they know all the people on this campus. They have 30 at least, from 10 to 30 students in their student organization, so they can voice their opinion. Another thing too is that we want to make sure that we are using the media, using Facebook, using the web, making sure that we promote as much as we can, contacting departments that particulate with that major, or even jobs that they have on campus. So like I mentioned earlier, qualification is what we need. Even though you have not participated in WSA, or you've been in WSA for like 3 years now, everything takes into consideration when personally.
Another thing that Dillon and I will be looking for in the rest of our slate is the opportunity to empower someone who doesn't feel like they have the ability to be great. I've been touched by many later on this campus, and they've empowered me and shown me the capabilities that I have. I would not be standing here today if I hadn't had those experiences. And I think, as John-Mark said, I don't want to work with my best friends all the time either, because everybody knows that doesn't always work. And so I think definitely looking for opportunities to empower someone who doesn't think that they have the capabilities is something that we're going to be looking for, so that not only can we have someone that it might feel like a dark horse, nobody's going to know about them, and they can come in and do really great things for the Western Student Association. And so I think that's definitely one thing that we're going to focus on.
You now have 3 minutes for closing statements. I guess it would be John-Mark going first.
Bronco Pride is about being a student. As an organization that represents 25,000 people, it is important that our students' current and future needs are met. Each one of us has made the decision in choosing WMU as a home, so it means to make sure that your voice is being heard. We recognize that our main duty as a student body government is to represent you. We acknowledge that we serve you as ambassadors and that change will only happen when we work together to implement your ideas. And that's why today, I encourage you to go visit our website because we want to hear your voice. Right now, we're providing you the opportunity to give your input, any ideas that you have. It can be small, it can be big, but we want to emphasize that your voice is heard. Thank you.
As a campaign, we want to discover the hidden talents on campus. And by doing that, we hope to bring out some of the undiscovered leaders. And hopefully tonight you've seen the passion between the two of us. And we hope that throughout the rest of the process before the election, we'll get the chance to show you the passion that the rest of the state has.
And we hope that what you heard tonight is going to help you understand our point of view on many of the important issues on our campus. If you have any further questions for us, please visit our website, bucklandfereind.weebly.com, and then click on our Contact Us page and then leave us a message. And we would like to thank the opposing slate and the Elections Control Board for putting on our event, and thank you very much.